So it looks like we finally have ourselves a brand new outro for Dragon Ball Super, and it looks like Vegeta may be getting a new power. Let's talk about it. If you guys like the Dragon Ball content that I provide on this channel, then make sure you guys punch that subscribe button with notifications enabled to be the first to receive all the latest in Dragon Ball content and be a part of the Dragon Ball squad. And also don't forget to follow me on these social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, to stay connected with me at all times. Hashtag Dragon Ball Squad. Thank you so very much for your support. Now let's begin. By the end of Dragon Ball Super episode 122, we were graced with an outro that showcased something very interesting by the end that had a lot of people talking and guessing as to what exactly it was. Now there's nothing wrong with speculating or theorizing as to what could be, but I found it very interesting how side by side, right next to Ultra Instinct Goku, we had Vegeta. Now there was something very interesting about Vegeta that we haven't seen before, and it had to involve his eyes. Now having to make the comparison next to Ultra Instinct Goku, Vegeta had sort of like a similar complex when it came to his eyes and having to glisten and glow, and it almost looked like a different variation, a different coloring of what Ultra Instinct looked like in comparison to the gray color we had blue. Now what does this all mean? What does it mean going forward into Dragon Ball Super, especially now with the conclusion of the Tournament of Power? Well, one thing is definitely for certain, and that's according to the recent Dragon Ball Super spoilers, episode 126 is going to involve Vegeta in more or less sacrificing himself, or at least attempting to risk his life in doing something big, but also the title suggests surpassing a god. So does that indicate that more or less Vegeta is being placed for something big as we near the finale of the Tournament of Power? Surpassing a god. Who in the tournament right now, aside from Jiren and Goku, have surpassed a god? Perhaps maybe they're telling us that something big is going to happen and it's going to involve Vegeta. Now it's within the realm of possibility that perhaps maybe Vegeta may be prepped and getting Ultra Instinct. That is not a crazy theory to come up with, because as of right now, we can't really sit there and say that Ultra Instinct can't debut at the same time as Goku, because we've had two Super Saiyan Blues debut at the exact same time, which was Resurrection of F when going up against Frieza. That was the only ever time, I think, that we ever got to see the introduction of a brand new form from two separate characters, first Goku and then Vegeta. But now as we near the end of the tournament, it kind of makes me wonder, can Ultra Instinct Goku accomplish what no other character has in the tournament thus far, and that's defeating Jiren by himself? To that I say, I don't know, because as of right now, Ultra Instinct Goku had only displayed his feats fully against Kefla and more or less not so much against Jiren, because when fighting Jiren, it was displayed momentarily until of course he burned right through his power. But what about Vegeta? What about this outro? This outro, if anything, did a great job in portraying Goku and Vegeta side by side, and anyone out there can make the comparison and saying, well, maybe the outro was hinting that perhaps Vegeta and Goku may be the last ones in the Tournament of Power. And I don't think many people have even conjured the idea that there is a possibility for Vegeta to win, considering that as of right now, he is below Ultra Instinct. Vegeta doesn't really have anything in his arsenal that can put him on a relative tier in comparison to Jiren. But that doesn't mean that Vegeta still doesn't have a chance, because according to the outro and according to the recent spoilers, he does. And even having to go back and looking at his fight with Jiren, Vegeta did a better job arguably than anybody else against Jiren thus far in the Tournament of Power, which includes Goku and Hit. So by giving Vegeta something different as compared to Goku, I think would be logical, considering the fact that even Vegeta himself had stated while charging up for the final flash that Goku can just keep the Ultra Instinct, he'll achieve something different. And going into Dragon Ball Super episode 123, Vegeta does look a tad bit different. His hair seems to be a bit spiked up more, his aura seems to glow and just have like that attraction, more so than how we've seen previous with Super Saiyan Blue, so something is definitely up. But is this going to give Vegeta the opportunity or chance to even put a dent in Jiren, let alone having to unleash the final flash, having to attack Jiren multiple times and being on the offensive, and literally everything Vegeta did was meaningless because not a single thing he did had any sort of effect on Jiren. And with that being said, surpassing the gods, I think that this alludes to Vegeta, and it's very possible that Vegeta could be entering some sort of a stage that puts him well beyond Super Saiyan Blue, because let's face facts, there are other techniques that you can use, like Kaioken, that puts you above a Super Saiyan Blue like tier, but Vegeta doesn't have Kaioken, so where do we go from here? Is it possible for them to introduce some sort of an Ultra form, some sort of powered up variation to what Super Saiyan Blue originally is, except giving it some sort of a multiplier, some sort of like an adjustable boost to put him relative to someone like Jiren, even by comparison by a slight margin? It is possible. By the end, I don't see Vegeta surviving against Jiren, because having to look at everything Jiren had done, it really truly displays his feats in the idea that this guy just seems unbeatable. But I don't think it's going to be impossible. I don't think that, especially for Vegeta's character, he's going to be given that opportunity to perhaps maybe surpass the gods and all be for nothing. I think that before Vegeta gets eliminated, and I do feel like he will get eliminated, he's going to have more of an impact in this tournament than possibly anybody else, leaving room for the finale, for the grand showcase of Ultra Instinct Goku versus Jiren during the final minutes of the end of the tournament. But having to keep that in mind and going back to the newest intro, you get to see how there is a message. There is a transcending message how everything thus far had taken place from Earth, and having to travel to different universes, and now having to have this grand multiverse battle. It kind of signifies how far we've come with Battle of Gods, the introduction to Dragon Ball Super having to take place on Earth, which of course, ironically enough, we see how in the beginning of the outro, Earth is more or less focused on as we transition and make our way into space. And as these streams of light begin to ascend through the heavens, we see how there are multiple planets, perhaps galaxies, universes, as we transcend and make our way into the world of Void. And this is where I think it boils down to Vegeta having his biggest moment ever, and that's surpassing the gods. Is he going to get Ultra Instinct? Now would be a better time than any other, but I don't think it's going to happen. It's going to come down to Goku and Jiren by the very end. But having to look at the spoilers, as again, there is no additional information going forward into Dragon Ball Super episode 126, but it is suggested that Vegeta is going to take it upon himself to risk his life in achieving the unthinkable. What that is could be speculated. You could theorize as to maybe he's going to try to kill himself, he's going to try to sacrifice his own body into getting Jiren out the ring and doing whatever he needs to do to solidify himself as a lead person in this tournament, and thus far he has. He solidified himself as a key player, a key component within Universe 7's team, but even then he truly hasn't had a significant impact on Jiren, at least not yet. So what are the eyes? I don't think that it has anything to do with him getting Ultra Instinct. Maybe this is Mastered Super Saiyan Blue. Now the reason why I am focusing and pretty much sticking to the idea that this is going to be more or less the Mastered Super Saiyan Blue concept is because in the manga adaptation, both Goku and Vegeta had Mastered Super Saiyan Blue. Now the difference between this and what we've seen in the episode so far is the fact that to master Super Saiyan Blue, you have to embed and keep the ki that's pouring out of your body within you. Hence why in the manga, Goku and Vegeta don't display the aura of Super Saiyan Blue as they're fighting Merge Zamasu. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that right next to Ultra Instinct Goku, we see Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, but he doesn't have an aura around his body. So maybe, perhaps, in my opinion, this is what the manga portrayed as Mastered Super Saiyan Blue. Would that be acceptable to me? Sure. Is it possible that perhaps maybe this is Super Saiyan Blue 2? Highly doubtful, but it really wouldn't surprise me considering that Dragon Ball Super so far has been throwing nothing but curveballs this entire time and pleasing the fans and providing fan service for anybody out there who's been wanting to see certain concepts. Fusions, new transformations, you name it, they provide it. And it's kind of early to judge now considering the fact that there's only a few minutes left for the tournament and a lot of these characters haven't really displayed what they can really do. More or less now going into Dragon Ball Super episode 123, judging based on Jiren and judging based on Goku's fight, it looks like those two are more or less going to provide and showcase more of what they can do than anybody else, which of course obviously includes Android 17, Gohan, Golden Frieza, Toppo, and Dispo. Vegeta more or less is going to have his moment during Dragon Ball Super episode 126, and then after that, it's a guessing game. Either he stays or he goes. But according to what we saw from the outro, a lot of people are speculating and wondering, okay, well, what if it does boil down to Goku and Vegeta? If it does boil down to Goku and Vegeta, you also have to ask yourself, how much does Vegeta have in the tank left to continue this fight with Jiren? He barely stood up after that final attack that Jiren gave him during episode 122, so what more can Vegeta do going forward as we transition and make our way towards the finale, the final moments of the tournament, with Ultra Instinct Goku and Jiren having to be the only ones left in the ring? What can Vegeta do? I'm not discrediting Vegeta, all I'm saying is that perhaps maybe what we're seeing at the outro, and more or less this hinted power of surpassing the gods, could be mastered Super Saiyan Blue. If it's Ultra Instinct, I'll just lose my mind. I mean, everyone out there is going to be going crazy because they've been theorizing that perhaps maybe he knows it, and episode 122 displayed Vegeta's knowledge of being self-aware because he was aware enough to dodge and outmaneuver everything Jiren was doing, while Goku in the back was getting his ass kicked, having no chance at all and standing back up. Vegeta had done what Goku couldn't, and that's registered Jiren's movements and finally being able to get some hits in. So obviously Vegeta's not a dumb fighter, but can he do it? Does he have what it takes? Does he have enough fuel in the tank to continue this fight in A, unlocking a higher power and putting him completely relative to Jiren, in possibly winning? Or is this the end of Vegeta? That's up to you to decide. But in the end, I would like to know what you guys have to say down in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts, guys. What are your overall thoughts as to what we're seeing with this outro? What is this new power that supposedly surpasses the gods? Is this involving Goku? Is this involving Vegeta? What is he going to do to sacrifice himself in the name of preserving Universe 7? I would like to know what you guys have to say down below. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to always go ahead and slap a like on the video. If you guys are new, hit that subscribe button, guys, for more videos such as this. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tune back in for more. Listen, man, Vegeta, I have high hopes for him just because he's one of my favorite characters, and if he unlocks Ultra Instinct and is relative to Goku in fighting Jiren, then I'm gonna lose my mind. So post your comments down below, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Cue my outro, bitch.